What if I told you that airlines have spent billions of dollars perfecting a single brilliant trick? Not a trick of service or technology, but a trick of silence. They've trained their staff, designed their websites, and structured their entire customer experience around one core strategy, hoping you don't know your rights. Because if you're over 60, you have access to a set of federally protected accommodations that could transform every single flight you take. Not perks, not favors, rights, legal guarantees backed by federal law that airlines are required to provide the moment you ask for them correctly. But airlines bank on you not knowing how to claim them. Today, we're giving you the 10 most powerful rights you have and the exact scripts that make gate agents legally required to help you. First, wheelchair service, even if you can walk. Most people think wheelchair service is only for passengers who literally cannot walk. That's exactly what airlines want you to think, because every wheelchair request costs them staff time and coordination money. But federal law tells a completely different story. You qualify for wheelchair assistance if you have difficulty with long distances, experience fatigue, struggle with balance, or simply need navigational support through the airport maze. Here's the reality. Walking from your parking spot to the terminal, manageable. Standing in a checkout line at home, fine. But trekking from the main entrance through security, down 3 concourses to gate C38, and then sprinting across the airport for a connection at gate A12, that's an entirely different physical demand. If your knees protest, your back aches, or you're worried about getting disoriented in sprawling terminals, that's precisely when this service exists for you. The booking process matters. When reserving your flight, find the Special Assistance section. You'll see wheelchair service options with specific codes. WCHR is for passengers who manage short walks and stairs but need wheels for long distances. WCHS works for those who can handle brief walking but can't do stairs. WCHC is for travelers who must remain in the wheelchair throughout. Most people over 60 fit perfectly into those first 2 categories. Here's your airport strategy. Head straight to the check-in counter when you arrive, even if you've pre-checked online. Look the agent in the eye and state clearly, I have wheelchair service pre-arranged on my reservation. I need assistance from check-in through to my gate, and I'll need the same service upon arrival. They'll call an attendant who becomes your personal airport navigator. This person guides you through security via a dedicated lane, wheels you directly to your gate, and often facilitates priority boarding ahead of the crowd. This is actually free. Federal law mandates airlines fund this service. And here's what they definitely won't advertise. Tipping is appreciated but never required. Some airports display misleading signs suggesting tips are mandatory. Ignore them completely. The service itself is your legal right, not a favor you're repaying. Second, companion care attendant seating at no extra charge. Airlines have transformed seat selection into pure profit. Sitting with your travel partner? $35. Aisle access? $45 more. But there's a federal exception that wipes out these fees entirely for many travelers over 60. Traveling with someone who provides assistance during your flight triggers a legal requirement. The airline must seat you together without charging a penny. And before you think this only applies to severe disabilities, understand the definition is surprisingly expansive. Does your companion help with mobility issues, remind you about medication, retrieve items from overhead storage, assist with airport navigation? Congratulations, they legally qualify as a care attendant. Skip the website for this one. Call the airline's reservation line directly. Use this exact phrasing. I am traveling with a personal care attendant who provides necessary assistance due to my medical condition. Under the Air Carrier Access Act, we are required to be seated together at no additional charge. Please assign us adjacent seats. Expect pushback. The agent might claim free seats only exist in the back rows. Accept it. You're still avoiding $90 in fees. If they insist the flight is completely full with no adjacent options, respond with, I understand. In that case, what is your procedure for accommodating this federal requirement? Will you need to rebook other passengers? Magic happens with that question. Suddenly, adjacent seats materialize. Airlines deliberately hold back inventory for exactly these legal situations. They're just gambling you won't know to push the issue. Third, TSA Cares, your personal security guide. Security checkpoints create peak anxiety for travelers. The constant yelling, contradictory instructions, rushed chaos. Shoes off, wait, keep those on. Laptop out, actually leave it in. Liquid separated, move faster. It's designed for speed, not comfort, and falling behind makes you feel like you're inconveniencing hundreds of impatient strangers. There's a service that completely transforms this experience. TSA Cares isn't run by airlines, it's a Transportation Security Administration program. They connect travelers needing extra support with a passenger support specialist, which is a specially trained TSA officer who becomes your personal navigator through the entire security process. Call 855-787-2227 at least 72 hours before departure. Keep your explanation brief and specific. I use a walker and need help managing my belongings through security. Or, I have a pacemaker and I'm uncomfortable with body scanners. Or, even, I experience severe anxiety in crowds and need someone to calmly explain each step. Notice what you don't need: forms, doctor documentation, medical proof. Just one call. At the airport, your assigned officer meets you at a predetermined spot near the security entrance. From that moment, they're with you continuously. Need special handling for medical devices? They've got it covered. Prefer a private screening area? They'll arrange it immediately. Want to move at your own pace without rushed pressure? That's exactly what they provide. This service fundamentally changes the most stressful part of flying, yet most people over 60 have never heard of it. TSA doesn't market it. Airlines certainly don't mention it, but now you know. Fourth, private screening rooms for medical devices or dignity concerns. Some travelers carry private medical realities: colostomy bags, catheters, mastectomy prosthetics, adult incontinence products. The prospect of a public pat-down in front of hundreds of strangers isn't just uncomfortable, it's humiliating and dehumanizing. Federal law provides an absolute right to private screening, not some curtained corner, an actual private room. At any point during security, tell any TSA officer, I request a private screening due to a medical device. They must comply immediately. You'll be taken to a dedicated private screening room. You're allowed to bring a companion. A same-gender TSA officer conducts the screening. Everything that would have occurred publicly now happens with complete privacy and dignity. Here's the insider approach most travelers miss. You can request this before even entering the security queue. Upon arrival at the checkpoint, locate a TSA supervisor, typically stationed near the ID verification podium. Approach them directly. I have a medical device that requires a private screening. Can you direct me to the appropriate officer? They'll escort you around the entire public line, taking you directly to the private area. This isn't exploiting some loophole, it's exercising a federally protected right. TSA has established protocols specifically for these situations, and officers receive training in handling them with dignity and respect. But you must use the specific language. Don't just say you need help. State clearly, I request a private screening.
Fifth, gate pass for family escorts. Yes, they still exist. Remember pre-9/11 when family members walked you to the gate, waited together, and saw you safely onto the plane? That didn't disappear entirely. It still exists under a different name, the Gate Pass or Escort Pass, and remains available to anyone traveling with someone requiring assistance. Your family member can obtain a Gate Pass, allowing them through security all the way to your departure gate. The process is straightforward. At check-in, arrive together. Your family member presents their photo ID and states, I'm providing necessary assistance to this passenger. I request an escort pass to accompany them to their gate. The airline issues a special boarding pass permitting your family member through TSA security. They can sit with you at the gate, help with last-minute needs, and watch you board safely. For many travelers over 60, this transforms flying from an isolating ordeal into a supported, less stressful journey. The system works in reverse, too. When you're arriving, your family member can get a gate pass to meet you right at the gate instead of waiting at baggage claim. They request it the same way, showing your arriving flight information. Sixth, pre-boarding for anyone who needs extra time. Boarding announcements transform gate areas into absolute chaos. People swarm the lanes, bodies press together, pressure builds. You're anxious about overhead bin space, stressed about getting your coat off and bags stowed, while dozens of impatient passengers queue behind you, sighing and checking their phones. Imagine boarding first instead. before first-class passengers, before elite status members, before the stampede even begins. Federal law explicitly guarantees pre-boarding to any passenger self-identifying as needing additional time to board and settle in. Here's your move. About 30 minutes before boarding begins, approach a gate agent who isn't currently making announcements. Make calm, direct eye contact and state, "I'd like to request pre-boarding. I need some additional time to get to my seat and get settled." Stop there. No further explanation is legally required. No doctor's note, no medical documentation, no proof. You're making a straightforward, polite request for a right guaranteed by federal law. The agent should immediately direct you to wait near the desk for pre-boarding announcement. If they seem uncertain or hesitate, add this single sentence. "This is an accommodation I'm requesting under the Air Carrier Access Act." Watch the hesitation evaporate. That phrase signals you understand the law, and suddenly cooperation appears. You plus one companion board together onto an empty, peaceful aircraft. Zero pressure, no crowds, no rushing. You have adequate time to locate your seat, organize belongings comfortably, and settle in properly. This single accommodation eliminates roughly 80% of boarding-related anxiety. Seventh, medical equipment and assistive devices fly free always. Baggage fees generate billions in airline revenue. A round trip for 2 people easily hits $240 just for the privilege of bringing clothes. But airlines deliberately avoid advertising this. All medical equipment and assistive devices are 100% exempt from baggage fees and don't count against your standard baggage allowance. Translation: you can check your regular luggage and your medical equipment bag completely free. The medical equipment definition is broad and generous. CPAP machines, portable oxygen concentrators, nebulizers, wheelchairs, walkers, canes, crutches, cooling bags for medications, diabetic supplies, blood pressure monitors, and extra batteries for these devices. At check-in, when the agent inquires about bags, don't phrase it as a question. Make a declarative statement. "I'm checking medical equipment that is exempt from baggage fees under federal law." Carrying it on instead, keep it in a separate, dedicated bag distinct from personal items. If an agent questions the bag's contents, remember you're not legally required to detail specific medical conditions. Simply respond, "This bag contains medically necessary equipment and supplies." They're permitted visual inspection, but cannot demand you power on devices or present prescriptions. For battery-powered medical equipment, call the airline 48 hours before departure. This isn't requesting permission, it's providing notification so they can document it in your reservation and ensure proper lithium battery handling procedures per FAA safety regulations. This advance call prevents hassles at the airport and protects your essential equipment. Eighth, priority rebooking when flights are canceled or delayed. When a flight is canceled, say 100 frustrated, angry passengers descend on the customer service desk, everyone shouting, everyone desperate to rebook first, but travelers who identify themselves as needing assistance during check-in don't join that mob. Federal law explicitly requires airlines to prioritize passengers with disabilities and medical needs during irregular operations, industry terminology for delays and cancellations. When you checked in requesting pre-boarding or wheelchair assistance, a special notation was added to your reservation. The moment your flight cancels, the airline system automatically flags your record for manual rebooking by a human agent rather than the automated system. While everyone else stands in that enormous line, you can approach a different agent or visit the airline's customer service desk in their lounge area. State clearly, "I'm a passenger with pre-registered assistance needs. This delay is creating significant hardship due to my medical condition. I need priority rebooking." You receive first choice among available alternative flights. If it's an overnight delay caused by the airline, specifically not weather, they're required to provide a hotel room, ground transportation, and meal vouchers. For someone managing medication schedules or experiencing fatigue easily, this isn't preferential treatment, it's a medical necessity. Your specific word choice here matters. Use significant hardship and medical condition to reinforce their heightened legal responsibility.
Ninth, tarmac delay protections, food, water, and time limits. You've boarded, doors close, then the plane simply sits. 1 hour passes. Then 2. The cabin air grows stuffy and stale. You're trapped with no information, no timeline, no control. But federal regulations establish specific, time-based protections in exactly this situation. For domestic flights, airlines cannot keep you on the tarmac exceeding 3 hours without allowing passengers to deplane. International flights extend that limit to 4 hours. After 2 hours sitting on the tarmac, airlines must provide food and water and ensure lavatories remain functional. For travelers over 60, particularly those managing medical conditions, being confined without water or working bathrooms transcends mere discomfort. It becomes a legitimate health risk. If you're approaching that 2-hour threshold, press your call button and state, "We've been on the tarmac for 2 hours. Per DOT regulations, can you please provide water and snacks?" Managing a medical need like diabetes requiring food or medication requiring water? Don't wait 2 hours. Press the call button immediately. "I have a medical condition and I need water and a snack to take my medication now." They must accommodate this request. Understanding these regulatory protections transforms a helpless situation into one where you maintain power and agency. 10th, the nuclear option, CRO and DOT complaints. What happens when you use the correct language and the airline still refuses? You have 2 powerful enforcement options most travelers don't know exist. First, at the airport, demand to speak with a CRO, also known as Complaints Resolution Official. Federal law requires every airline to have one available either physically present or by phone at every airport they serve. A CRO is a specially trained supervisor with extensive Air Carrier Access Act knowledge. If a gate agent denies your request for pre-boarding, wheelchair service, seating accommodation, or any other right discussed here, state this calmly but firmly. "You are denying me reasonable accommodation under the Air Carrier Access Act. I demand to speak to a complaints resolution official immediately." In 99% of situations, the agent will suddenly discover a way to accommodate your request without escalating to their supervisor. Nobody wants CRO involvement because it generates documentation, incident reports, and unwanted management attention. But if they don't back down, the CRO must speak with you personally and either provide the accommodation or document in writing their precise denial reasons, creating an official record establishing liability. Second, after your trip, file an official DOT complaint. Don't waste time tweeting at the airline. Don't complete their internal customer service form that routes to a marketing department. Google DOT Air Travel Complaint. It's a straightforward government web form. Your complaint goes directly to the Department of Transportation and becomes part of the airline's permanent compliance record. Airlines are legally obligated to respond in writing within 60 days. It's the only mechanism holding airlines accountable for federal law violations. The DOT tracks these complaints and can impose significant fines for repeated violations. Your individual complaint matters. It creates documentation protecting future travelers from similar treatment. So, there you have it. 10 federally protected rights transforming you from just another passenger into an informed traveler who understands exactly what they're entitled to receive. This isn't about exploiting loopholes. This is about leveling a playing field airlines have deliberately tilted in their favor through silence. This is about traveling with dignity, confidence, and knowledge that federal law supports you. Airlines have constructed a multi-billion-dollar business model based on one hope, that you'll never read the actual rulebook. But you're holding it now. These aren't favors requiring gratitude, they're rights demanding compliance. The moment you start using the language from this video, everything fundamentally changes. You're no longer hoping gate agents will show kindness. You're invoking federal law. You're not requesting permission, you're stating legal requirements. Save this information somewhere accessible. Write these exact phrases in your travel notebook. Forward this to your parents, friends, anyone over 60 who still flies regularly. Share it in your travel groups. The more people who understand these rights, the more pressure airlines face to actually honor them instead of profiting from widespread ignorance and confusion. Next time you're at the airport, you're not hoping for kindness or goodwill. You're claiming what already belongs to you legally. Because when they comply, they're not doing you favors, they're following federal law. And now, you are too. Fly with confidence, fly fully informed, and never let any airline make you feel like assistance is some privilege when it's actually your federally protected right.